Buenas noches a todos.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you all here in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in this opening ceremony of the 23rd Congress of ASIPI. For you, a new meeting is starting. This Congress for us, many months of work are ending to organize this event. We want you to enjoy the meeting, to have a good time, to learn, to have networking, and to leave this place happy for having been here to ASIPI, to this Congress. There's a lot of work, as I said. The staff of ASIPI, the executive committee, of the host committee, of the delegates committee, different commissions, all of us have been working for the success of this Congress. As I said, I wish you leave this place happy for having been here, but especially willing to come to the next event of ASIPI. I would like to invite you to stand up to listen to the national anthem. Nice, our Argentine anthem. I always remember the Pumas, the national rugby team. They always sing it with a lot of strength and pleasure. I would like to introduce Fernando, Dr. Marcelo Garcia Gerard, President of the host committee, Dr. Carlos Gallo, President of the Industrial Committee in Argentina, and our President, Dr. Luis Alejandro Enriquez. Before they come up to stage to say a few words, I would like to especially thank, I would not mention each and every one of you. You will see the names on the screen, all the names of the host committee, President of ASIPI, representatives of Regional Office of Industrial Property of the region, national delegates of our association, presidents, secretaries, coordinators, members of the commissions and committee, group of work group, ASIPI members, public attendees in general, ladies and gentlemen. Again, welcome you all and thanks for being here. As I said, I will give you some minutes so that you can read the rest of the people. The video of our sponsors, we are grateful to them for their cooperation with ASIPI. We would like to thank our sponsors who are supporting us in this event. Institutional sponsors, Arent for Shift US, Barlow, Peru, BCNB, Biciril, Mexico, BKM Berkemeyer, Paraguay, Servieri Monsuarez, Uruguay, Daneman Simpson, Brazil, Goodrich Riquelme and Associates, Mexico, Groenbaum, Paucine Teixeira, Brazil, IDSPI, Central America and the Caribbean, Palacios, Lawyers, Guatemala, Platinum sponsors, Mercado Libre Argentina, Gold sponsor, Bolet Interrero Venezuela, academic members, University of New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce School of Law, U.S., commercial speakers, Marcelo Reberti, Argentina, shows Latvia, Nippon IP, China, media sponsors, Lex Latin, Marcasur, the Global IP Matrix, the Women's IP World, the patent lawyer, trademark lawyer. I would like to invite Marcelo Garcia, President of the host committee, to come to stage. Marcelo, please. What is coming now, right? Maestro. Okay, we are here finally. 2 words, just 2 words. Thank you and meeting, gathering. We have heard these words a lot, and we'll probably hear them a lot soon. I want to thank all the authorities who are here with us today, the universities who are here with us today, all our colleagues, friends who have come to prepare this gathering point, ASIPI Buenos Aires, for a meeting point to really meet the goal to joining minds and point of view. We need exchanging ideas, connecting, networking. People need networking. So I would like to invite you exactly to do that. I would like to invite you to meet new people, to get together with your older friends and colleagues, to exchange new point of view, listening to new opinions, be daring and get ready to know something new, opening up our minds, leave this place renewed with new ideas. Because in short, well, we not only work in our business, on our business, or our public authorities think in terms of policies to be applied. Judicial authorities not only solve conflicts, university not only train professionals. At the end of the day, all of us as an ecosystem, we are working for all those who create and innovate, represented today by the maestro and the musicians. Today they are representing, thank you, exactly, they are representing all inventors or the artists, people we usually work with. And finally, each and every Congress has its own pace, its choreography. Buenos Aires has several paces, several rhythms, different choreographies, because we have different music identities. But there's one specifically that is our brand, a city brand. Maestro, please. Okay. Before getting to the next surprise, I would like just one thank that is missing. I would like to personally do it once again to the host committee. This is a work group that is excellent, and you have set the tone, the myth, and the spirit, and the mystic. You embody what we are offering to all those who attend this event. So really, this is a great work team, and really, thank you very much. Now, yes, please, thank you. Now, I'll leave you with a word by a sentence by Astor Piazzolla. and a new surprise. Enjoy it. So many surprises I was expecting, as I was expecting one more. No more surprises? Is that it? Maybe a good steak with fries would be great. Okay, before giving the word, we will show you a video of the General Director of the World Organization of Intellectual Property. He will give a word for this event. Al señor vicepresidente y miembros Comité Ejecutivo de ASIPI, grupos de trabajo y miembros del Comité de Comité de EPI. Buenos días o buenas tardes, un saludo de Ginebra. Es un honor saludarlos desde la Asociación Interamericana de la Propiedad Intelectual en el Congreso número 23. Pero en WIPO somos socios de hace muchos años, con tantos comunes objetivos en común. Durante más de 60 años, ASIPI ha promovido los derechos de la propiedad intelectual y la importancia, además, todo lo que tiene que ver con del desarrollo económico, social, etcétera. Pero hoy cada vez es más relevante. Las economías están cada vez más priorizando la calidad del resultado y todo lo que tiene que ver con el empresariado, la economía y la creatividad. En todo el mundo, 40 creaciones se generan y todo lo que tiene que ver con la región de Latinoamérica y Caribe. Estamos en un punto máximo histórico. Trabajamos con gobiernos, empresarios, inventores e interesados como ustedes y otros para mostrar que la creatividad y los ecosistemas brindan resultados a nivel local e internacional. Esto se traduce en la comercialización de la propiedad intelectual y esto deja a las empresas con mejor acceso al mercado. No podemos dejar a nadie afuera. Yo creo, y ustedes también, que todos estamos trabajando en forma activa para asegurarnos de que lo que hace a mujeres, jóvenes, incluso aquellos en las comunidades rurales, a los distintos países, desarrollados, subdesarrollados, en desarrollo, estén incluidos. Queremos darles les deseamos una reunión muy exitosa en Buenos Aires. Muchas gracias. Now I would like to invite Dr. Carlos Gallo. He will give us a few words. This is just meant to create suspense. Okay. First, I feel honored to be here. Not always have I been a public servant. At some time, I was a lawyer of IT, and I have been to other ASIPI congresses just as a participant. Being here today, for me, it's an honor and a pride. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here to give you a few words. Thank you, ASIPI. I want to thank ASIPI, the organizing committee, Marcelo, and represented by Marcelo. I know this is not easy to organize this. I understand there's over 800 guests, and this is one of the largest presence in ASIPI. Congratulations. Also, there are representatives from offices from foreign countries, Marianela from Uruguay. I saw Leopoldo from Brazil. I don't know who else because I have not seen all of you, not yet. But all of you, all those who are not here today, we have something in common. We love and we are a fan of industrial property. We love it. We hold this, we have this in our blood. This could be just something to be analyzed, but this runs in our blood, really. The fascinating thing here is that the synergy that comes out from the interaction and between private and public people, and the importance that is growingly having intellectual property. There's no international agreement that can be negotiated without a chapter related to IP. As WIPO, you have heard the president how WIPO is making progress at each of the different points. And the challenge for these years, coming years, is how to create value from IP. Maybe all of us know how to register it, enforcement, weak points, strong points where we need to keep working. But now the challenge is how to create value. And as professionals in your case, and as office in our case, we should not set aside the fact that nobody will register a patent or a brand, a mark, or design an industrial model just for the pleasure of it. Nobody will wake up in the morning and say, I feel like recording or registering a mark or a brand. The important thing is that behind that, there's an undertaking. and entrepreneurship and investment, work generation, and many other things. And really, the smooth economy and the companies and the countries as well. So, without losing sight of this, for us, and let me tell you a little thing about WIPO. Last year, we had a record of presentations of new brands. Why am I talking about new brands? Because renewals happened 10 years ago. Some of them, but the figure does not change much. But in new brands, last year we had a record. We had 98,000 new brands, and we believed that with a lot of effort we would get to 100,000, and we went beyond 100,000. But at the beginning of September, we have over 120,000 new brands as of today, and we believe we can get 140 this year. This is not something to be said, see, we have 120 brands. But this shows the activity that we are having, how this is being recorded more and more, or at least, well, these are requests submitted. And this presents a challenge to the offices. We need more efficient processes, shorten terms, work more with AI as possible, support or revisit the processes and procedures and change some things that made sense 30 years ago, and it doesn't make sense today to do it in the same way. So we are permanently working on WIPO to make it more and more efficient. This helps the head, the owners of the rights, those who requested, but especially you as middlemen between the office and the requesters. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you for the work you do every day. Thank you for squeezing your heads or our heads, our minds, making us think where we need to improve and what is coming next. Because for us, these are not just isolated cases. These are bundles, packets of 20,000, 30,000 cases that are quite similar. This is enriching on the one hand, but on the other hand, when you have a specific case, you enrich us, giving us a vision that in that case is important for the customer. And maybe we have overlooked this, but this will make us grow and maybe change everything around an area of IP. So no more words than just saying thank you for allowing us to go forward with IP and intellectual property. Thank you for tonight. Thank you, Carlos. We heard the words of Ayer Anitan and the great representation of WIPO, Loreto, Rolando, Charles. Thank you very much for being here. I would like to invite our president, Luis Alejandro Enriquez. After Marcelo's performance, it would be quite difficult to capture your attention. I will do my best. Good evening to all the authorities who are here with us today, special guests, national and international associations, former presidents, members, colleagues, and friends of ASIPI. It is an honor to open up here in Buenos Aires our 23rd Congress. This city, so creative energetic is the perfect scenario to show 2 years of management and intense administration and work. 2 years that among all we converted ideas into actions, actions into results, and we feel proud of it. I would also like to especially thank the Argentine host group led by Marcelo García Celar, together with José Vichetto and coordinated by Matias as a representative of the executive committee and leader of the academic program. Thank you for your hospitality and your absolutely clean work, perfect work. Also, our recognition to all the Argentine companies that have supported us to make possible the traditional cocktail that we will have tomorrow, Monday. Thank you for your effort, and thank you for receiving us with such a great generosity. For all of them, a big round of applause, please. Also, I would like to highlight the very special presence of Dr. Miguel O'Farrell, great professional and distinguished member of the association. Being a student of the School of Law of the University of Buenos Aires, had the chance to participate in the foundational meetings of ASIPI back in 1964 in Mexico. Today, I would like to talk to you about the reason of being of ASIPI. We are a union that gathers the professional of IP of the Americas and the Caribbean, but our purpose goes beyond getting together or grouping. In ASIPI, we promote intellectual property as the tool of development, and we defend with evidences, studies, documents that show their impact in employment, innovation, investment, and generation of wealth for our nations. We do it together with the public sector, the academic sector, and the private companies, so that IP is at the service of economic development as well as social and cultural development. When the state, universities, entrepreneurs, and civil society push together, the IP will become a platform of competitiveness and social well-being. That focus is not a theoretical one. There are countries that have turned this into a policy of state with vision and continuity. Singapore is a good example. They supported innovation, they strengthened our IP system, they captured resolution of international disputes, and they allowed their SMEs to use the intangibles as support. This is how we build an ecosystem. Step by step, policies, after creativity will become, until creativity will become the confidence and the investment engine. This purpose is translated for ASIPI into 3 verbs: innovate, entrepreneur, undertake, and solve. Innovate with a sense of Latin American meaning, connecting sense, creativity, and market. Entrepreneur without fear, with clear rules, so IP is not an obstacle, but a vehicle. And solving with local talents, with great tools and certainties. In ASIPI, we did our part. In these 2 years, we implemented committees, programs, workshops, alliances, and training that took IP to reach to more people and more sectors. We did it with closeness, with rigor, technical rigor, and especially with a spirit of community. I'm grateful to the Executive Committee, our national delegate, the work groups, commissions, and programs. Our alliances with IP offices, universities, and international bodies, and of course, each member that said, present, I'm here when it was required. None of this is built by itself, although this happens because of the fact that you believe in it and you work on it. Now, I would like to see what we have achieved together in the last 6 months. So I will leave you with a brief video that shows the most significant achievements. This is how we close 2025. We are reviewing the achievements of the second half. We were in Buenos Aires. We strengthened links with bonds with academic and government institutions. In Bolivia, we signed an agreement with the Association of Intellectual Property. In Costa Rica, we provided training for fiscals of the public ministry. In Venezuela, we strengthened institutional alliances and academic alliances on different topics. A special mention to the delegates, all the delegates with a commitment and dedication in these 2 years of administration. We also are grateful to all the teams that gathered efforts from the participation in training, podcasts, articles, and the development of new interactive maps. By initiative of the work group, the role of the universities in the development of IP conference was held with Dr. Macias Delgado, and the role of the university was implemented together with the role of the University of Simón Bolívar in Ecuador. We concluded the study of the impact of falsification of Latin America on the use of cannabis and the regulation in ATAF, concluded with an interactive map and a virtual seminar. The Social Action Committee closed the action of the year with foundations, with funds, and with donations, donating tennis shoes. The Piracy Committee covered IP. The Regulatory Affairs Committee, Franchise Committee, and Competence Committee collaborated in 2 academia courses that promoted seminar on free competency in Guatemala. The Copyright Committee developed 2 bulletins available in our bookstore, in our library. The committee celebrated different activities. The company committee or the entrepreneurship committee has had a bulletin on good practices. The fashion law committee showed articles on this specialty, and the one about industrial designs organized something in the great committee. They celebrated the 4th session on design. Geographic Indications Committee they published 6th and 7th bulletins. A great thanks to the MARC Committee for Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Paraguay. The Mediation, Conciliation, and Arbitration closed the committee. They closed course on certification and of ASIPI. The Publicity Advertising Committee produced the legislative summary, and the Vegetables Variety Committee had a seminar in cooperation with Paraguay. Also a cooperation agreement was signed in Paraguay. From ASIPI Academia, we launched 4 new courses with the participation of over 250 students. ASIPI educates implemented copyright for students in school times. This is part of the official curriculum in Ecuador. ASIPI Emprende continued with training for entrepreneurs in the region, and ASIPI Pro Bono, signed an agreement with Bolivia, and they celebrated the AmCham anniversary. ASIPI News and ASIPI Feed celebrated different gatherings in Buenos Aires. ASIPI Joven Youth had the oratory speaking, public speaking, and ASIPI clubs continue strengthening the community of members through their activities. The best industrial designs had records with over 85 projects in different countries. Mood Courts, Latin America, gathered 12 countries. The Group of Green Innovation Contest gathered 8 countries. And we launched the 4th occasion, ASIPI UNH Frontiers. We organized over 25 webinars, several of them in alliance with other organizations. We produced over 5 podcasts promoted by our committees. We launched the 5th edition of World ASIPI, Mundo ASIPI, and the 30th version of IP. And we actively closed with the production of 10 maps. We started a cooperation with intellectual property, and we signed new agreements with universities of Bolivia, El Salvador, and Dominican Republic. We also advanced with other universities in Argentina. We expanded our cooperation with the University of New Hampshire to offer new benefits for our members, and we launched different books or different solutions in the past. We participated in key associations of the Argentine Association of Industrial Property in Argentina, ABAPI in Brazil. Also, we set an approach to a Sonatrix Mark Association. We signed new agreements of cooperation with national offices in Argentina, El Salvador, and Dominican Republic, and we supported initiatives on training in Uruguay. We participated in a Congress of IP registry in Guatemala, and we implemented 3 workshops in Paraguay, one on traditional knowledge, one on notorious brands, and one on geographical indications and denomination of origin. We strengthened relations with WIPO with industrial designs. In Venezuela, we accompanied the 27th anniversary of IP, and with Chile, we trained in API. We signed an agreement with the General Direction of Customs of El Salvador, first agreement that we set with Customs Office. We were present in ECTA, the World Congress of AIPPI, the Marquez Congress, the FIPI Congress, and others. We participated in the assemblies of WIPO, and we held a framework of these assemblies. Our institutional strengthening includes campaign ASIPI we respect over new 60 members, more ASIPI news, and the incorporation of the 10 new sponsors for 2025-2026. The strengthening of our digital presence continues promoting the growth of the ASIPI community and the institutional positioning. After consolidating a regional presence in El Salvador that gathered over 235 attendees, we closed this cycle of achievements in Buenos Aires. What you have just seen is the best response to the question, what is ASIPI used for? What is the point? It is used to multiply capacities, install capacities at universities, public offices, companies, entrepreneurship centers on innovation and development. This is good so that IP becomes a common language among those who create, invest, investigate, research, regulate, and give advice. Just to enjoy the event, I would like to propose 3 things. Let's get the best out of the panels that mark the agenda. We will talk about IP, big fake, and intimacy, right, biotechnology, luxury brands, creativity, and fashion. The panel, they will close with a surprise fashion show with Benito Fernandez, the recognized Argentine designer. Even the connection between music and right, as the case of Taylor Swift, from music to the rights or to law. Participate in the networking and areas and special activities. Have that coffee that opens up doors. Go to the workshops. Attend ASIPI Art, the different cocktails, and the ASIPI Treat, walking, running tour, and yoga classes, and different sports, to keep having dialogue while we share quality time. Do not forget our solidarity campaign. Cooperate, donating shoes, training shoes or tennis shoes, participating in the donation of blood and other activities. These are small gestures that leave a big footprint. Last, I would like to invite you on Wednesday afternoon to attend the General Assembly. We will introduce the closing report on the administration. We will recognize the work groups, commissions, programs, and delegates. We will offer an honor our president, the first woman president that holds this title. And we will assign the next executive committee for 2025-2027. Your participation is key. ASIPI is built with your vote, your voice, and your vision. Dear friends, I'm closing with a conviction. Latin America and the Caribbean have a lot of talent. If we sustain this, supported with solid institutions, IP, and private intelligent solutions, we can make the decade of Latin American intangibles. I hope this Congress is a starting point, an inflection point, more innovation, more entrepreneurship, more real solutions for our people. Thank you for your trust, your confidence, your time, and your commitment with ASIPI. Welcome you all to the 23rd Congress of ASIPI in the beautiful city of Buenos Aires. Thank you, Luis. I would like to present our keynote speaker today, Fernando Pollack. We will introduce his incredible curriculum, history, background as a physician. He has held a different career. He has a personal entrepreneurship from the kitchen to the table. This project generates pride, a huge pride. A few days ago, when we were here before this Congress, we had lunch to La Mesa, the table, his restaurant, beyond the gastronomic experience, because it's great. This is a life experience. We will tell you that why. I would like to recommend you to go to Palermo. If you have a few minutes, go to La Mesa. And after listening to Fernando, no doubt you will want to go and know that place. Fernando, welcome to ASIPI.
Fernando Pollack.
Fernando Pollack, pediatrician and infectologist. Recognized internationally for his work on clinical research and development of vaccines, Fernando has a history background with science, transforming look on inclusion, and a personal commitment. Beyond the scientific and academic achievements, Fernando has had his vision and sensitivity to a not very usual habit, the construction of real opportunities. His work has always been guided by a central conviction. Knowledge, when it's put at the service of others, multiplies possibilities. With that same conviction, he created A La Mesa. This promotes the autonomy, talent, and the growth of neurodiverse young people. Each process is thought so that each of them can deploy their capacity, their skills, learn, and enjoy this environment that recognizes them and empowers them. Fernando invites us to have a look at the inclusion as a collective, fun, and creative activity. His vision shows that each person contributes with value. Each of them deserves a value. And when real opportunities are created, transformation arises. ASIPI has the honor to introduce a person whose background combines science, human commitment, and a deep look that is deeply transforming on solutions. With you, Dr. Fernando Pollack. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to thank the authorities of ASIPI for inviting me. Thank you for the tango show. Very nice, really. I come from a different world. I come from medical sciences. I've been a professor in Johns Hopkins for many years. Also a very good school of law, as you may know, and the University of Vanderbilt. And when back in 2016, I decided to continue all my work in Argentina, I had not been in Argentina for many years at that time. I started working on clinical trials that ended up with Pfizer vaccine during the pandemic, where Argentina covered a very important role. And I felt proud to be the head of the international that I work with the authorization of the vaccine in my world. However, my life has gone in parallel to other things. I have 2 children, Leandro, the older, and Julia, 27. She's neurodivergent. She's part of the autist spectrum. I always wondered what my daughter would do once she was a grown up. And I will tell you about what I decided at some point in time. I decided I would create a restaurant so that my daughter and her friends would work in that restaurant, but in a different kind of way, as we are used to seeing people work with neurodivergence. In that context, when my work started, one night, I was listening to the radio in Buenos Aires, and I heard an interview to Juan José Campanella, a movie director. He has been awarded with an Oscar, a nominee for another Oscar, and I called him. I said, Juan, I have this situation. There's a very important reason why I'm calling you. When I was working full-time in the U.S., one day I went to Washington to the movies to see the son of the girlfriend. This movie produced a lot of impact, and I decided my mother had a similar situation as the protagonist of the movie. I left the movie, I called my brother, and I said, I'm going back home. And I started my career here. Juan Campanella accepted my proposal to roll a trailer and then a movie on the creation of A la Mesa, this restaurant for divergent people, kids or youngsters, that summarizes how the story started. I am very happy to be here. I met many people. We are autistic. Our brain works differently. We are attentive to each detail. We have a unique project. A la Mesa is born at each head of each father or mother, parents of these children. We say, what is my son or daughter going to do when they are adults? They will learn how to prepare a meal, how to serve the table. Now, for the very first time, you will see how we do this. What this means for somebody they believe in them, being reliable with children who have a very different life. I can do many things. I am able of doing many things. A la mesa, to the table. Why a la mesa? The life of a family with a member in the world of neurodivergence, they have a very special characteristic. They have many people who speak about this child, people surrounding them. We live with them. And in fact, usually we speak on their behalf. We speak for them. Teachers, psychologists, psychiatrists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, the professors, school heads, those who take their kids to school, the transportation. Everybody has an opinion. Physicians, everybody wants to know they believe they have something intelligent to say. And what happens to those who live this situation is quite similar to what happens to all of you when you go to the doctor. The only thing you want is, there's nothing, just go back home, no problem. But as the physician can say something that will affect the mind of a person for many days, months, or years, also can affect if children, these kids, walk and they exist covered by a cloud of words that basically speak for themselves, and they are permanently turning them as meta subjects. They exist through the words. I decided I did not want that for my daughter. I wanted my daughter to speak for themselves and to have a similar life, similar to the ones that we have, all of us. So I created this restaurant. I had clear in mind why integration projects fail, because I was a father of a girl who was 22, 23 back at that time. And the problem with integration projects is that they have lots of good intentions, but they believe that this integration is an act of goodwill and not a lot of work, intelligence, and training. So parents in general, they integrate their kids into a company that is willing to make them participate of the process. And that's where the kid goes when they smell a perfume. Maybe everybody smells perfume and they will smell oil. If they can hear a noise, they will hear a fire gun. This is the only chance they have, and maybe they spend 1 month in a place where they have 20, 30, or 50 colleagues who speak a different language. I was asking Martin today, how many of you are Latin Americans? And I suppose most of you, of those who are present here. I would like all of those who are Latin America to raise their hand. Those who have the best 5 friends are non-Latin Americans. This is a situation that the children face in these situations because they get into a world where they do not belong. The world lives a different kind of language. They have different ambitions, different perspectives. Nobody wants to live in an alien world. Nobody wants to live in a place where you feel a stranger, a foreigner. Similar to when you have to go, suppose you go to your husband or to your spouse wedding party. You don't even know anybody. They go back home. They don't understand what is happening. And when they go back home, they find themselves in a situation where their parents feel anxious. How did you do? How was it? But the children don't know how they did. So this work is doomed to fail. And if it does not fail, at the end of the month, rotation is over. They will go back home. The company will put another child so that the goal of the integration comes true. And that's it. For their whole lives, maybe. So this is a complicated thing. I do not want to do that. I know that the task for my daughter, Julie, was to understand the language and plan kind of work or job from their own look. This means integrating. Integrating means to learn the language of others and translate a plan into that language that can be invisible to the eyes of others. But the language has to be integrated. A la Mesa is a restaurant with lots of tricks as the box of a magician, but they are invisible to the customer. When Martin and all the people came the other day, quite likely if I had not gone to the table to tell you about all these things, many of the tricks behind hidden in La Mesa would have gone unnoticed as decoration, signals or signs. Not very important, but they make the magician to fly above the theater. This is what I could see when I was a little kid and I went to when I saw David Copperfield and he would fly. I had no idea how he was flying. Evidently, he was not flying, but flying was very important. Integrating has a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is to pick those who will work there. We have a waiting list, 1,600 people waiting. We have 40 children who are employed with a health organization, with a union of the gastronomic employees, just 40. And they have their own salary, official salary. Obviously, they will not have the 1,600 people who are waiting will not come from our restaurant, maybe from others. But this is very important to pick those who come to work. Not many, but we have to pay attention to that. The first thing we have at the restaurant is we cannot manage kids who have violent instincts because the damage to the project would be terribly big. The second of the conditions that we have is that they need to have an understanding of where we are. They don't need to understand the P&L of the restaurant. They don't even need to fully understand how the business of the restaurant works. They need to understand that they are giving a service, and mysteriously they understand this as the project goes forward. And the third condition is they need to have a family fully committed with their daughter or their son. The family has to be ready to celebrate the success when they come back home, to ask what happened during the day, to be able to understand that now they have a player at the table. Maybe they cannot go on vacation whenever they want to. Usually they are just like a luggage in the planning of their family. In this case, they have to work, and they can go on vacation maybe second fortnight of December, although they have a celebration in the first week of February, for example. This means reaccommodation of the whole family. It requires a lot of exercises in the different groups, but this repositions the person, and this becomes a subject of respect. They make the person grow, and they discover that they have their own will and their own place. When Carlitos buys candies with a wallet of his father's wallet, but it's Carlitos, but he will become Carlos when he goes and buy the candies with his own wallet. What means integrated? When an employee is meeting, and the company will have a problem if one of the employees that is integrated is missing his job. We'll have a problem. Probably, if you are missing while integrated, the company will have a big problem. If I have one of my employees that missed 45 consecutive days to the National Congress. When he quit, he said, "But you were not here." This means integrating. Integrating means when the day is over, the integrated person will leave the place to have a beer at the bar around the corner. All of them not waiting at the door of the factory or the company for the bus to come and pick him up, or the mother. The idea is to have friends in the job, same as all employees and everybody has. And we there get our friends, and throughout our lives, whether it's school, university, or work, we generate the social structure that surrounds us. Maybe somebody that came with us, with our parents, that generated this umbrella for us. Having a restaurant for non-divergent things means thinking like a non-divergent. For that, we need to think slightly differently from the way we think. One of the first things we did was we picked a menu including several dishes. First one is salmon. You see it. This is salmon with panko, with tomatoes, but with lots of secrets. You will see they also have these. They always have protein and two dressings, potatoes and tomatoes. Next is broccoli, fish. Last year I tried it. I tested it. Look, it smells great. I mean, it tastes great with beans. The plate is a different color. Third one, very familiar, sirloin, breaded sirloin with tomato and fries. All a la mesa dishes are being cooked, plated, generated by these kids. There's only 6 non-neurodivergent people working at the restaurant. When you arrive, taking you to the table, taking the order, closing, taking the dish, the plate, the dessert, the account, everything is done by these children. This is Bordeaux is a red plate because the ingredients required for a breaded beef, all the ingredients are placed in red containers, and they have the exact concentration for 1 full day of production. So in a la mesa, generating a dish is a process that is oriented by a color code. They cannot read, they don't need, they shouldn't be color blinded. They need to see and distinguish the colors. I'm showing just 3 of the total. There's no fire. Nobody can be hurt. And people from ASIPI, they have gone to the kitchen. There's no knives, no fire, And there's no scales because we have this system that will allow them to generate any of the recipes simply by means of a production mechanism oriented by science and colors. The place requires a lot of engineering. This is a restaurant, a very nice place. Live, colorful areas with different signals. This is the orange area. This is the green area. And each of them have space enough to have different trolleys. Space enough, you will not see them here. Each of the guests sitting at a table with a tablecloth and a letter, they will know exactly and get exactly the order. This doesn't happen in any restaurant. I spend every day going and eat different restaurants, and the waiter comes or the waitress comes. Oh, who ordered the steak? Oh, I'm got confused. Wait for me, I come back. This cannot happen because each of the failure will imply bad thing for them. This has been taken to a level of perfection, a degree of perfection of this service a la mesa that I have never seen, and I think this is exceptionally strange to have an error in one order. This is totally opposite to the idea of the forgotten dishes in the room in Tokyo. People with Alzheimer serve a restaurant, and the idea is just bring anything because they have a problem. Nobody here will bring you anything. Nobody will come here just for get a confusion. Google has 4.9 over 5 in Google, the rating. This is incredibly very good restaurant. There's an emotional area, of course, but clearly we wouldn't ever have a score. Don Julio, the best grill, has 4.6. 4.5 is the best. In our case, 4.6. Really, there are many things that are hard to implement or to undertake in Argentina. This has been extraordinary. We have done a very good match between the country and the intention that we had. And this can be seen in the number of awards that we have received in the last years. This is the next slide. This has been a huge surprise for us because really we didn't know what we would find when we left and we went out there to work. Next slide. We had spent years of training, 2 years exactly, getting training with 40 kids, but being courageful enough to start with a new project. This generated something I had not expected to happen. I didn't know it existed. This is a different kind of feeling when you're in a la mesa. The fantasy of a la mesa for many people and for myself, the fear that it was a sad, dull place to see the severity of the disability. It's quite hard to go through an experience like this, but a la mesa is quite the opposite. Not quite the opposite because a religious thing or charity concept. It's quite the opposite because a la mesa takes us back in an unexpected way to a good country, to a country that in Argentina, I have seen it. This is a country that I remember when I was a little kid. I lived close to the School of Medicine. My parents were professionals, and I would accompany my father to the School of Medicine, my mother to teach at her university. And I saw all the entrepreneurs at that time, the guy who sold the candies, the one who had a sandwich store, the electrician, the lawyer who lived around the corner. And we would say hi to all those when I was walking with my mother or with my father, and the world had a different color, different from the one we have today. A la mesa is a place where the employees are the best employees I have ever had in my life. I have never had a group of this nature. During pandemic, we prepared for Pfizer project, a project of 1,200 people in 11 days. We were the groups that recruited most volunteers of patients and the most important group for Pfizer. We recruited 26 times what any North American university recruited, just on our own. However, a la mesa is much, much better. There's a huge happiness to work there, where everybody loves their colleagues. They're fans of their colleagues. There's a feeling of shared success. Nobody complains when we need to come at night because we have a special event. They say, I can go there. And they say, if they cannot come, please let me know. I will come myself. Because this finding a sense of life. We also find this in our job as well. Being absent usually in the lives of these kids. They have a very curious generosity, and they are very warm. They are very happy. They have a nice way of behaving, and they have something of what happened in our childhood. This is not similar to Charca Street where I lived. This looks like what I was like when I was a little kid. Somebody with a lot of illusions, a lot of expectation, much more power to grow a vision in the future. Of course, we miss this along life. We lose this because you have different situations. Disability, quite curiously, and this I learned in La Mesa, is not generated or does not generate sadness. Sadness comes from being alone, being lonely. Nobody feels sorry for Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, or Beethoven. Nobody feels sorry for Roosevelt, 4 times president of the U.S. in a wheelchair. What makes us feel sorry for somebody is being lonely, and the perspective of loneliness. Disability is a broad avenue. Alamesa breaks away with all of that. It's a group of friends who are very happy. They go out together, and this is a celebration. This celebration bounces on other countries. For example, different areas. The girl in red is my daughter, and Camila is her friend, one of her friends. In O Globo, El País, in the New York Times, where we had the 4th page of the full page December last year. It's quite curious because I had given a couple of interviews for the New York Times as a scientist, but I never imagined that I would, in my life, have an entrepreneur, an undertaking that started with an idea of having like a hot dogs or hamburgers house that ended up in this nice adventure. In this context, a couple of years ago, I was invited to the Vatican, and I had the chance to see Pope Francis. But since I had come to that interview through another person, the main contact and the original guest of Pope Francis, something curious happened to me. We started walking. And many of you know when you go and see the Pope, as you go forward along the Vatican corridors, yes, you are being checked at the checkpoint, the Swiss Guard, the Italian police, and your checkpoints. And did you get to an area where you get terminals and people from the Curia? The very last barrier, I'm asked about my name. My name was not on the list. So the name was Alejandro, who had made the connection. So I said, don't worry, I can wait for you here. Alejandro went in, and right there on the right was the Pope's office. The Pope comes out and says, no, Fernando, come on in, come in. So directly I approached him. I got into the Pope's office and we started talking. He was terribly warm, very friendly. And I said, I have 40 families who have this project and they will love your speech. Why don't you record your speech? You don't have a cell phone. You cannot get in here with a cell phone. There's one here. He said, what do you mean you have your cell phone here? The cell phone would be taken away at the very last door, at the very last checkpoint. And since I went over it, they let me go by. I said, okay, let's get this point. And he recorded this message. Are we ready? Dear kids, boys and girls, I want to congratulate you for your work. I have been listening to all the development of the work that you do, how you study, how you get ready. thank you, because this is a contribution, different kind of contribution to the society, creative contribution by each and every one of you. And that work, you also develop your personality, because what gives consistency to the personality and what gives dignity is always to have a work. So I congratulate you for the originality of your job, for the poetry behind your work. Keep going ahead. Don't get scared. It's worth continuing with this road ahead. Pray for me, and I will pray for all of you. Bye-bye. Nothing is clearer to us parents what this project means than the birthday parties. 23rd anniversary of birthday of my daughter, we had my father, my son, my Gaspar, a friend of my daughter's, and myself. This is when she turned 26. 27 was even bigger. I did not have the picture at that time. So this redefines, A la Mesa redefines living in a society for these kids and their families. One day I got into the restaurant, and one of the kids, Mariano, approached me and said, Fernando, I would like to talk to you. I said, okay, Marian, what happens? No, let's go to the corner. I have a girlfriend. Wow, that's great. Who's your girlfriend? Your daughter. Mariano. And does Julia know? Not yet. She doesn't know yet. No, for a long time, maybe a month, I have been sitting with a chef, our chef who comes from Suberoa, one of the best restaurants of the Basque country with the Michelin stars. And many famous chefs have come, Fernando Troca, he came to work with us. And I've been talking another boy called Felipe. He says, Francisco, sous chef. He says, Fran, should I send it or not? Send it. Send it. If you really feel it, really, you have to send it. But don't you think it will be too much? No, 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 no. If this is in your hand, you have to send it. So Felipe leaves the place. I said, Fran, is that a girl? No. Kazakhstan classified for the World Cup, and Francisco wants to become the coach in Kazakhstan. There's something that is great, being so. A la Mesa has things that can be replicated. Some days ago, we went to Alavan, Palermo, a place with macarons. They manufactured macarons. A very generous thing for us, a frozen macaron, quite big. With a different chef, they had also worked with Dolly Rigoshen, and we took our team to serve the tables of Lavan. Our team covered all the coffee store without the trolleys, without their signals, without the tablecloths, without any of the other things. A la Mesa can be scaled. On July 9th, Clara Mucio, the head of the we are located in Maure, between Migueletes and Soldado de la Independencia, and 600 people came for a locro with empanadas made by Roberto Petersen and a custard with dulce de leche, with custard, with tenors and sopranos. This is the Day of Independence in Argentina. They sang, but they managed the 600 people the same way as they manage the 90 people who come to have dinner at a restaurant or lunch. In fact, we did, and we always do, every month or month in, month out, a pop-up on Friday night. They have Fernando Troca, great chefs. This week, you'll have several Colombians. Maybe you know Rizazon. He's an icon of Latin American cuisine. He will be working in La Mesa Waking. Dolly Rigoshen broke her leg when she had to come, so she will come next year. Nara Lepe, Saramburu, etc. Along these days, when guests are cooking, we have these different steps, 6 or 7 steps with top once the kids work, we do all the recipes without fire, without a scale, without knives. So this is a project that can be taken to other areas. This can be expanded, having so many families that are waiting for a better future, expecting a better future for their kids. The reaction of the mothers of these kids with disabilities, not these kids, those who do not work in La Mesa, I was quite afraid. I thought this would be a big frustration. Let's do what we cannot do to employ more people. But they are the ones who love coming the most because they see that nothing is solved with the fact that the government paints the obelisk blue on the Autism Day once a year or they sing a song on Christmas. Things have to be done with intelligence. And there is a road, there is a better road, and the road is ahead of us, and it is working. A la Mesa is corporation. It's a real company. It is not a nonprofit organization. It depends on collective work and the quality of their jobs. But especially, A la Mesa is a party, permanent party for all of us. And this video that I will show you shows this better than anybody.
Libiamo dei lieti collici che la bellezza infiora e la fuggevol ora s'inebria voluta odiam un rapido che suscita l'amore poiché quello più al cuore onnipotente va. Liviamo, amore, amore, fra i collici più caldi baci avrà.
I told you at the very beginning that I had gone to the movies with my brother in Washington. I told him that I was coming to Argentina. And all the time, the construction of La Mesa, we were on the phone, and I was telling him how things were going in the progress of the restaurant. He came once to Buenos Aires, and I said, please come to see the training. We would train in a storage area in Buenos Aires. When he came, he said, Fer, nothing of what you told me could have allowed me to imagine what I see. I would like to invite you. I would like to come and invite you. The coffee and dessert is on me. If you scan the QR code, you are guests. You are invited to see this experience that has changed the lives of so many families. Thank you very much. I told you it was a great story. Those who did not feel emotional, you don't have blood in your system. Thank you very much, Fernando. We love to use the word foreign, or we feel proud, and this is what applies to Fernando and La Mesa. Keynote speaker is because our idea for today, the key word is inclusion, with kids neurodivergent, different skills, depending on the country. Each country will call it different way. This is the campaign for this year. The happy hour that we have on Tuesday afternoon, a DJ will be a 21-year guy, Lautaro Moli, with a brain paralysis. If you see him, you cannot believe how he plays music as a DJ, and he enjoys with the support of his parents. I was fortunate enough to meet them a few days ago. Apart from what's generated in Fernando's talk, this generated a lot of hunger. So probably we will put an end now to this opening ceremony. I would finally, again, thank all of you for being here. Welcome. I want to thank the host committee, headed by Marcelo and Jose. And I will not close the event myself because Luis, my friends of the executive committee, say that I talk too much. So they generated an AI character to replace me. So I leave you with AI. Thank you very much, and enjoy ASIPI a lot.
Hola a todos.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lara, an avatar created by means of AI, and I am very happy to accompany you throughout these days in ASIPI Buenos Aires 2025. From today and during the whole Congress, I will be your guide so that you don't miss anything. Academic panels on brands, anti-piracy, innovation, and so many great topics. Coffee breaks, and of course, social events and the parties that will make this meeting something special. I am ready to live with you an unforgettable experience where tradition and future go hand in hand in the Queen of El Plata, like the River de la Plata. Welcome to ASIPI Buenos Aires 2025. Live the Argentine experience. To continue celebrating this special opening, I would like to invite you to the opening cocktail that will be held in Buen Aire room here, right here, on the second floor of this hotel. It will be an ideal time to have a toast and start these days in a friendly environment. I would also like to remind you that we have a running tour early morning with several walking and running tours. The route would be in Cuarto Madero. We will meet together at 6:45 in the Foyer South, Foyer Sur in Hilton Hotel. We'll get together in this same room at 9 o'clock tomorrow to share a set of panels of the very first level. Now, let's meet in the Salón Buen Aire inauguration of opening cocktail.